Essa had survived 3 wars, 2 assassination attempts, and 1 unfortunate incident involving a Valorian plasma reactor. None of that prepared him for the moment when Empress Maya Draconis walked into his repair shop on the edge of Terminus Station. She stood in the doorway, backlit by the neon glow of the station's commercial district, her crimson scales catching the light like fractured rubies. Her wings, partially folded to fit through the entrance, brushed against the doorframe with a sound like knife blades kissing. "Do you know who I am?" she asked, her voice carrying the kind of authority that made empires kneel. Essa looked up from the courier drone he was fixing, wiping grease from his hands onto his already stained coveralls. He was human, one of the galaxy's most unremarkable species, according to the Galactic Council's latest census. No scales, no wings, no natural weapons, just flesh, bone, and an irritating tendency to survive things that should kill him. He studied her for exactly 3 seconds. Then he grinned. "Galaxy's hottest," he said, returning to his work. "Literally. Dragon folk run at about 380 Kelvin internal temp, if I remember correctly. You folks are walking furnaces." The temperature in the room dropped. Not literally, Maya's kind didn't do cold, but the atmosphere certainly did. Her golden eyes narrowed to slits. "I am Empress Maya Draconis, flame of the 17 systems, keeper of the—" Yeah, Essa interrupted, not looking up. "And I'm Essa Torres, keeper of this repair shop, breaker of my landlord's patience. And I've got about 47 minutes before this drone needs to be fixed, or I don't eat this week. So unless you're here for repairs, your hotness, I'm gonna need you to get to the point." Silence. The kind that preceded either violence or respect. In the Draconis Empire, those two were often the same thing. Then Maya laughed, a sound like distant thunder rolling across metal plates. "They said humans were insane," she said, stepping fully into the shop. Her tail curled around a stack of spare parts without disturbing a single piece. "I'm beginning to believe it." "Not insane," Essa corrected, finally meeting her gaze. "Just tired of pretending the universe is more complicated than it is. You're here because you need something, and whatever it is, you can't get it through official channels. Or you'd have sent one of your fancy-scaled guards instead of slumming it on Terminus Station yourself." Maya's expression shifted, calculation replacing amusement. Perceptive and accurate. She reached into the fold of her wing and produced a data chip, its casing marked with the Imperial seal. "I need this delivered to the Sigma outpost. No questions asked. No Imperial vessels. No official records." Essa whistled low. "Sigma outpost is in contested space. 3 different factions would shoot down any ship heading there. 4 if the Zelthari are feeling moody. Which is why I need a human." "Because we're expendable?" "Because you're impossible to predict. Your species has a documented tendency to succeed through sheer audacity where logical planning would fail. The Zelthari call it human chaos theory." Essa picked up the data chip, turning it over in his palm. It was lighter than it should be for something this important. "What's on it?" "Peace," Maya said simply. "Or the beginning of it. The location of a weapon that could end the faction wars. If it falls into the wrong hands, millions die. If it reaches the right people, the fighting stops. And you can't deliver it yourself because I'm the Empress. Every move I make is watched, analyzed, predicted. If I send an Imperial courier, it will be intercepted. If I send a covert operative, they'll be tortured for information." She leaned forward, her presence filling the small space. "But a random human mechanic on a nowhere station? Taking a standard freight route?" "No one looks twice." Essa met her eyes, those molten gold eyes that had witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations. "You're trusting me with the fate of millions based on what? The reputation of my species being unpredictable idiots?" "No," Maya said, and her voice softened. "I'm trusting you because you didn't flinch when I walked in. You didn't grovel. You didn't fear me. Fear makes people predictable. You looked at the Empress of the 17 systems and saw a problem to solve, not a throne to worship. That's why humans are dangerous. That's why you're perfect for this. Essa was quiet for a moment, weighing the chip in his hand. It would be easier to refuse, safer, smarter. But humans, as Maya pointed out, weren't always smart. "Triple my shop's monthly rent," he said. "Paid up front. And you owe me a favor." "You're demanding a favor from an empress?" "That's how this works, right? I do the impossible, you owe me the impossible. Equivalent exchange." Maya's laugh returned, warmer this time. "Agreed, though I warn you, calling in a favor from me is more dangerous than this delivery will be." "I'll take my chances." Essa pocketed the chip. "When do I leave?" "Now would be ideal." "Of course it would." He grabbed his jacket from the back of his chair. "You dragon folk and your sense of urgency. Fine. But I'm taking the scenic route through the Kelvar Nebula. Less traffic, more cover. That route adds 3 days to the journey. That route keeps me alive to deliver your peace treaty or whatever's on here. Take it or leave it." Maya studied him again, this time with something approaching respect. "Very well. 3 days. Don't make me regret choosing a human." Essa paused at the door. "Your Hotness? One question." "What?" "When this is over, and if I survive, can I tell people I made the Empress of the 17 systems laugh? It'll be great for business." Maya's expression became unreadable. Then slowly she smiled, revealing rows of perfectly white, perfectly sharp teeth. "If you survive, Essa Torres, you can tell them whatever you like, because if you succeed, you'll be the human who ended a war, and if you fail..." Her smile widened. "Well, you won't be around to tell anyone anything." "Fair enough." Essa stepped out into the neon chaos of Terminus Station, the weight of galaxies in his pocket, and did what humans had done since they first looked up at the stars and decided to visit them. He took a stupid chance and made it look easy. Behind him, Empress Maya Draconis watched the ridiculous, impossible, beautiful human disappear into the crowd, and for the first time in 3 years, she allowed herself to hope. End.